Hey guys, before we begin, just take a deep breath. Tonight's video is called Strange Sleeping Habits of Ancient People That Actually Worked. This video is not fast, it is not loud, and it is not meant to keep you awake. If you truly enjoy this kind of calm, historical storytelling, you can subscribe later. For now, just lie down, relax your shoulders, and let your mind slow down. Because long before soft beds, before pillows, before mattresses, and before phones, humans still slept deeply. Let's go back in time, very slowly. Thousands of years ago, sleep was not something people designed. It was something they listened to. There were no bedrooms, no quiet rooms, no mattresses waiting at the end of the day. And yet, people slept. Not perfectly, not comfortably by today's standards, but deeply. In ancient times, sleep was not separated from life. It happened wherever the body finally said, enough. A farmer slept near his tools, a traveller slept beside a road, a guard slept sitting upright, leaning against stone. Sleep did not require silence, it required exhaustion, and exhaustion came naturally. People woke up with the sun. They worked until the body slowed on its own. No alarms, no deadlines blinking on screens, no artificial light forcing the mind to stay awake. When darkness arrived, the world softened. Fires dimmed, voices lowered, movements became slower, and sleep arrived without permission. Sleeping on the ground was normal. To us, the ground feels hard, uncomfortable, even painful. But for ancient people, the ground was familiar. They slept on packed earth, on wooden planks, on straw, on animal skins, sometimes directly on stone. The body adapted. Muscles learned where to relax. Bones found balance. The spine adjusted naturally. There was no perfect posture, only the posture the body chose when it was truly tired. And something interesting happened. Because the surface was firm, people did not sink into sleep. They rested into it. Their breathing slowed, their muscles softened, their sleep became lighter, but longer. They woke less confused, less heavy, less groggy. Sleep came in waves, not blocks. Ancient people did not expect 8 straight hours. They slept in parts, a first sleep, then waking, then a second sleep. After sunset, they slept for a few hours. Then they woke naturally. Some prayed, some talked quietly, some simply sat near the fire. There was no panic about waking up. Waking was not failure. It was normal. After a while, they returned to sleep again, deeper, calmer. This rhythm matched the body's natural cycle. No forcing, no anxiety, no clock watching, just listening. Silence was not required. Sleep did not need quiet rooms. Animals moved. Fires crackled. Wind passed through trees. Other humans breathed nearby. Noise was part of safety. Complete silence meant danger. The brain learned to sleep through sound, not against it. Today, even small noises wake us. Back then, sound was a lullaby. The body knew when to stop, no. Screens told the eyes to stay open. No artificial lights confused the brain. When darkness came, the body released sleep naturally. Melatonin flowed without resistance. Sleep was not chased, it was accepted. And because of that, sleep arrived gently. As you listen to this now, you may feel your breathing slow. Your thoughts may soften. That is not an accident. Your brain remembers this rhythm. Because deep inside, you are not modern, you are ancient, and your body still knows how to sleep. Sleeping upright and why it once felt completely normal today. If someone says I fell asleep sitting up, we instantly imagine discomfort. A stiff neck, a sore back, restless sleep. But for most of human history, sleeping upright was not strange at all. It was common, it was practical, and for many people it was safer. Travellers, monks, night guards, sailors and villagers on long journeys often slept leaning against walls, trees or stone. Not because they wanted to, but because the world demanded it. Lying flat meant vulnerability. Wild animals, thieves, Cold ground, sudden danger, sitting slightly upright allowed the body to rest, while the mind stayed just alert enough. This created a unique state of sleep, not fully deep, not fully awake, a kind of half-dreaming rest. Modern science might call it light sleep or segmented sleep, but to ancient people it was simply sleep. Their bodies adapted. Their muscles learned to relax without collapsing. Their necks grew strong. Their breathing adjusted naturally. They didn't need pillows because their posture supported them. And unlike us, they didn't stay frozen in one position all night. They shifted slowly, instinctively, leaning left, then right, then forward. The body moved without waking the mind. This constant micro-movement kept blood flowing, prevented stiffness and reduced pain. Ironically, our soft modern beds encourage us to stay still for too long. Comfort locks us in place. Ancient sleep was not about softness, it was about adaptability. Rest came not from luxury, but from alignment with the environment. And this is where their sleep becomes truly fascinating. Because they didn't sleep once per night. They slept in cycles. And those cycles change everything we think we know about normal sleep. The strange rhythm of first sleep and second sleep, and why waking at night was once normal. Those cycles mentioned at the end of the last part were not accidents. They were not disorders. They were not insomnia. They were the natural rhythm of the human brain. For most of history, people did not sleep in one long stretch. They slept in two, sometimes three. This pattern was so common that it had names. First sleep, second sleep, and no one questioned it. After sunset, once darkness settled in, people drifted into their first sleep. This sleep came quickly. The body was tired from real labour. The mind was not overstimulated. There was no artificial light to delay rest. First sleep was deep. Breathing slowed. Muscles relaxed. Dreams were vivid. This phase lasted a few hours. Then something interesting happened. People woke up. Not suddenly. Not in panic. They simply became awake, calm, quiet, clear-headed. This middle period of wakefulness could last anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. And during this time, people did not feel broken. They did not feel anxious. They did not think something was wrong with them, because this waking was expected. Some people prayed. Some talked softly with others. Some reflected. Some sat near the fire and simply existed. It was a peaceful time. No pressure to sleep. No clock counting minutes. No frustration. After this quiet wakefulness, people returned to sleep again. Second sleep, often lighter, often filled with gentle dreams, and they woke near sunrise naturally. This pattern matched human biology perfectly. Modern research has shown that melatonin, the hormone responsible for sleep, is released in waves, not in one flat line. Ancient humans followed those waves. Modern humans fight them, and that fight is one of the reasons sleep feels so fragile today. Because when a modern person wakes at night, they panic. They check the time. They calculate hours left. They worry. That worry triggers stress hormones. Stress kills sleep. Ancient people did not have this problem. Waking at night was not failure. It was part of the design. This middle wake period was often associated with creativity, emotional processing, and even problem solving. People reported vivid thoughts, clear memories, strong imagination. The mind was quiet, but awake. This state is rare today. Screens stole it. Electric light erased it. Modern life compressed sleep into one forced block, and the body never adapted. Instead, it resisted. This is why so many people today wake up at night and believe something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Your body is doing what it was designed to do. But modern expectations have erased the context. Ancient homes supported this rhythm. Houses were dark. Fires were low. Nighttime activity was minimal. There was nothing exciting to do. So returning to sleep was easy. Today, waking at night means light, stimulation, information. The brain becomes alert. The cycle breaks. Ancient people also slept differently depending on the season. In winter, nights were long. Sleep was longer, but still segmented. In summer, nights were short. Sleep compressed naturally. There was no fixed schedule. Sleep adapted to the earth, not the clock. Another important detail is how safe people felt. Sleep deepens when the nervous system feels protected. Ancient communities slept close together. Families shared space. Villages slept in clusters. There was comfort in proximity. Predators avoided groups. Danger was shared. This reduced nighttime anxiety. Modern humans often sleep alone, isolated with the mind quietly alert. Even in locked rooms, the nervous system does not always feel safe. Loneliness affects sleep more than we realize. Ancient sleep was communal, and communal sleep was calming. Children slept near parents. Elders slept near warmth. Everyone shared sound and presence. There was no expectation of silence. Snoring was normal. Movement was normal. Sleep adapted. Today, we try to eliminate every sound, and when we can't, we wake up. Ancient people did not expect perfection. They expected rhythm, and rhythm creates resilience. Another forgotten detail is how little people worried about sleep. Sleep anxiety did not exist. No one tried to optimize sleep. No one tracked it. No one compared it. Sleep was not a performance. It was rest. And because of that, sleep came more easily. The mind did not chase it. It allowed it. This is one of the greatest differences between ancient sleep and modern sleep. Today, people think about sleep constantly. They worry about it during the day. They fear it at night. Ancient people rarely thought about sleep at all. It simply happened. And because it happened naturally, it healed naturally. Sleep repaired the body. Sleep calmed the mind. Sleep restored energy. Not because it was perfect, but because it was accepted. In the next part, we will explore something even stranger. How ancient people used sleep itself as medicine. How rest was prescribed long before doctors, and how certain sleeping environments were believed to heal the body and protect the soul. For now, let your thoughts slow. You don't need to understand everything, just listen. Your body remembers this rhythm, even if your mind forgot. How sleep became medicine long before doctors existed by the time ancient people understood the rhythm of sleep. They also began to understand its power. Sleep was not just rest, it was healing. Long before written medicine, long before pills, long before hospitals, sleep itself was the treatment. When someone fell ill, they were not immediately given herbs or rituals. First, they were allowed to sleep, not rushed, not disturbed, not forced. Sleep was believed to be the body's way of repairing what was broken, and in many ways, they were right. Ancient healers noticed patterns. People who slept deeply recovered faster. People who slept poorly weakened. So sleep became intentional. Special sleeping places were created. Quiet corners, warm areas near fire, raised platforms away from cold ground. These were not luxuries. They were early medicine. People believed the body healed itself when the mind was calm and the breath was slow. And sleep created both. Some cultures believed that sleep allowed the soul to travel. Others believed that sleep allowed harmful energy to leave the body. Different explanations, same result. Rest restored balance. When someone had fever, they were kept warm and allowed to sleep. When someone was injured, they were laid down, fed lightly, and left undisturbed. Silence was encouraged, but not enforced. Soft sound was normal. A crackling fire, low voices, wind outside. Complete silence was unnatural. Ancient healers understood something. Modern science is only now confirming. The nervous system heals best when it feels safe. Sleep created that safety. Another forgotten practice was the timing of sleep. Healers paid attention to when someone slept best. Early night sleep was believed to restore strength. Pre-dawn sleep was believed to calm the mind. Waking too early or sleeping too late was thought to disrupt balance. They did not measure hours, they observed energy. Sleep was adjusted, not scheduled. Dreams were also taken seriously. Dreams were not ignored. They were messages, sometimes emotional, sometimes symbolic, sometimes physical. A person dreaming of heat might be overheating. A person dreaming of falling might be anxious. Dreams guided healing. People talked about dreams calmly and without fear. Dreams were part of health. Today, dreams are often dismissed. Ancient people listened. Another strange belief was that sleeping position mattered for healing. Sick people were often placed on their side. Injured limbs were elevated. Breathing problems were treated by sleeping upright. These were not random choices. They came from observation. People noticed what helped. They remembered and passed it down. Sleeping outdoors was also considered healing. Fresh air, natural sounds, changing temperatures. Many believed illness stayed indoors. Sleeping outside allowed sickness to leave the body. Even today, fresh air improves sleep quality. The body remembers. Ancient sleep medicine also included routine. Not strict schedules, but predictable rhythms. Eat lightly before sleep. Avoid heavy thinking. Lower activity at dusk. No stimulation at night. Darkness signaled rest. Firelight did not confuse the brain. Sleep came smoothly, and waking came gently. Children learned this rhythm early. They slept when tired, woke when ready. There was no concept of bedtime struggle. Sleep was not negotiated. It happened. Another important aspect was trust. People trusted sleep. They did not fear losing it. They did not measure it. They did not judge it. They trusted the body. This trust reduced anxiety, and reduced anxiety deepened sleep. Modern insomnia often begins with fear of not sleeping. Ancient people did not have that fear. Sleep was never perfect, but it was enough, and enough was healing. Sleep was also shared. Sick people were rarely left alone. Someone stayed nearby. Presence mattered, even silent presence. This calmed the nervous system, and calm allowed sleep. Today, many people recover alone, isolated, their bodies tense. Ancient healing sleep was social, connected, human. And perhaps the most powerful difference was patience. Ancient people did not rush recovery. They allowed time. Sleep happened again and again. Cycles repeated. Healing followed. They did not demand instant results. They trusted the process. And the process worked. Where ancient people slept and why the surface mattered less than we think by now. One thing is clear. Sleep in the ancient world was not defined by comfort. It was defined by context. To understand how people truly slept, we need to look at where sleep happened. Not bedrooms, not private rooms, but shared spaces, temporary shelters, open environments. For most of human history, the idea of a dedicated sleeping room did not exist. Sleep happened where life happened. Inside homes made of wood, clay, or stone. Inside tents, inside caves, under open skies. Sometimes sleep happened near fire, sometimes away from it, sometimes surrounded by people, sometimes completely alone. And yet, sleep still came. Floors were the most common sleeping surface. Packed earth floors were cool in summer and cold in winter. Wooden floors were hard but dry. Stone floors were unforgiving but stable. None of these surfaces were soft. But ancient people did not expect softness. They layered straw, hay, animal skins, woven mats. These layers did not create luxury. They created insulation. Insulation mattered more than softness. Keeping the body warm was more important than cushioning it. A cold body cannot sleep deeply. Ancient people learned this quickly. That is why even the poorest households often had straw or grass for sleeping. It was not about comfort. It was about survival. Raised sleeping platforms also appeared early. Simple wooden frames, raised stone ledges. These lifted the body off the ground, not for comfort, but for protection. From insects, from dampness, from cold air near the ground. Sleep improved immediately. This is why raised beds spread slowly but steadily. Not because they felt better, but because people slept longer. Interestingly, these early beds were still very hard. No mattresses, just woven rope, wood, or reeds. And yet, people slept. Their bodies adapted to firmness. Modern bodies struggle because we expect the surface to support us. Ancient bodies supported themselves. Muscles stayed engaged. Posture adjusted naturally. This reduced certain pains but increased others. No sleep was perfect. It never has been. Another common sleeping surface was hay. Barns were warm. Animals generated heat. Hay trapped warmth. People slept near animals, sometimes even beside them. This closeness reduced cold and created safety. Animals reacted to danger faster than humans. Their movement served as early warning. Sleeping near animals was not strange. It was practical. Another place people slept was near walls. Walls held warmth. Stone absorbed heat during the day and released it slowly at night. Sleeping against a wall felt safer. The body protected on one side. Even today, many people prefer sleeping with their back to a wall. This instinct is ancient. Some people slept in corners. 2 walls, maximum protection, minimum exposure. Safety mattered more than space. Sleep outdoors was also common, especially in warm climates. People slept under stars, under trees, near water. Night air cooled the body naturally. Sounds of nature became sleep signals. Crickets, wind, flowing water. These sounds were not distractions. They were comfort. The brain learned that these sounds meant safety. Today, we recreate them artificially. White noise, nature sounds. Your brain is not confused. It remembers. Ancient people also slept in motion, on boats, in carts, on animals. Travel required rest wherever possible. Sleep was brief, light, fragmented, but enough. The body learned to rest quickly. Modern humans struggle with this. We need perfect conditions. Ancient humans did not. They slept when they could, and that ability kept them alive. Another surprising detail is how little people worried about the surface itself. They did not analyze it. They did not adjust endlessly. They lay down and rested. Sleep came from exhaustion, not optimization. Today, people chase the perfect mattress. Ancient people chase safety, and safety produced rest. This doesn't mean ancient sleep was better. It was different. Injuries happened, pain existed, but sleep was not a luxury. It was a necessity, and necessities are accepted, not judged. Another key difference was movement. Ancient sleepers moved constantly, not consciously, instinctively. Hard surfaces encourage movement. Soft surfaces trap the body. This movement prevented numbness, maintained circulation. Even during sleep, the body stayed alive and responsive. Modern beds reduce movement. This can deepen sleep but also create stiffness. Neither system is perfect, but ancient people accepted discomfort as part of life, and acceptance reduced stress. Stress disrupts sleep more than hardness. This is perhaps the most important lesson. Sleep quality is influenced less by the surface and more by the state of the mind. Ancient minds were tired, not overstimulated. Ancient nights were dark, not glowing. Ancient sleep surfaces were simple, not optimized. And yet, sleep happened, deep enough, often enough. How darkness shaped sleep and why ancient nights felt different by the time we understand where ancient people slept, we also need to understand what surrounded them. Not walls, not floors, but darkness. For most of human history, darkness was not optional. When the sun disappeared, light disappeared with it. There were no switches to flip, no glowing screens, no constant brightness pushing the eyes open. Night arrived slowly. The sky dimmed, colours faded, sounds softened, and with that slow fading the body followed. Ancient people did not decide to sleep. Sleep happened to them. Fire was the only light, and fire behaved differently than modern light. It flickered. It moved. It was warm and low. Firelight did not stare into the eyes. It danced gently at the edges of vision. This mattered more than they knew. Firelight did not confuse the brain. It didn't block melatonin. It did not signal daytime. Instead, it signaled safety. Fire meant warmth. Fire meant protection. Fire meant community. People gathered around it. Voices lowered naturally. Movement slowed. The nervous system relaxed. This created the perfect environment for sleep. Darkness was not feared. It was respected. Night was quiet but alive. Animals moved. Insects sang. Wind travelled freely. These sounds became signals. They told the brain that the world was normal, nothing urgent, nothing alarming. Sleep arrived. Ancient people rarely fought sleep. They did not scroll past it. They didn't delay it. When the body became heavy, they rested. Darkness gave the body permission. Today, darkness is rare. Even at night we live in light. Streetlights, screens, indicators, glow from everywhere. The brain never fully believes it is night. Melatonin struggles to rise. Sleep becomes shallow. Ancient nights were truly dark. And because of that, sleep was deeper. Another important detail is how long nights were. Before electric light, winter nights were very long. People slept more in winter, not because they were lazy, but because the environment demanded it. Energy was conserved, activity slowed, the body adapted seasonally. Modern life ignores seasons. We expect the same energy year-round. Ancient people did not. Their sleep length changed naturally. Longer nights meant longer rest. Shorter nights meant lighter sleep. This flexibility kept the body balanced. Darkness also affected emotions. Without constant stimulation, the mind quieted. Thoughts slowed. Anxiety had less fuel. Today, the mind is rarely allowed to dim. Even in bed, light enters the eyes. Information enters the brain. The ancient mind rested because it had nothing to process. Another difference was how people related to night. Night was not productivity time. It was not entertainment time. It was rest time. Stories were told softly. Songs were slow. Movement was minimal. Night had a purpose. Sleep was part of that purpose. Ancient people did not feel guilty for sleeping. They did not label it as wasted time. Sleep was survival. Sleep was repair. Sleep was sacred. This attitude reduced resistance. Resistance creates tension. Tension blocks rest. Acceptance invites sleep. Even children absorbed this rhythm. They grew sleepy naturally. They rested naturally. There was no bedtime negotiation. Darkness led the way. Another subtle detail is how eyes adjusted. Ancient eyes experienced true darkness regularly. This strengthened night vision. The body learned to function with low light. Modern eyes are constantly overstimulated. They struggle to relax. Sleep depends heavily on eye relaxation. Ancient darkness trained the eyes to soften, and when the eyes soften, the mind follows. Ancient people also woke differently. They did not wake to alarms. They woke to light. The gradual return of dawn gently pulled them from sleep. No sudden shock. No stress response. Waking was calm. Modern alarms create panic. Panic carries into the day. Ancient mornings were slow, stretching, silence, soft movement. Sleep ended naturally. This made rest more effective. Sleep is not only about how you fall asleep, it is also about how you wake. Ancient people understood this intuitively. Darkness gave sleep a beginning. Light gave it an ending. Both were gentle. Nothing was forced. This balance is missing today, and its absence affects us deeply. But the body still remembers. When lights are dimmed, when stimulation stops, when sound softens, sleep returns. Not immediately, but eventually. Because darkness is not the enemy. It is the invitation. After darkness, the next thing that shaped ancient sleep was sound. Or rather, the absence of silence. Complete silence is a modern idea. For most of human history, night was never quiet. Animals moved in the dark, insects sang without stopping, wind brushed against trees and shelters, fires cracked and shifted, people breathed, turned and whispered, and yet sleep still came, deeply. Ancient people did not expect silence. They did not demand it. Their brains evolved to rest inside a living soundscape. Sound meant life. Sound meant normality. Silence meant danger. A sudden absence of sound could mean a predator, a threat, something wrong. So the brain stayed alert when things went quiet. This is the opposite of modern sleep logic. Today we try to eliminate all noise, earplugs, soundproof rooms, absolute silence. And when silence breaks, we wake up. Ancient brains worked differently. They learned to filter sound, not fight it. The brain categorized sounds. Familiar sounds were ignored. Unfamiliar sounds triggered alertness. This selective listening allowed sleep to continue safely. A crackling fire was ignored. A rustling animal was normal. A distant howl was noted but not feared. Only sudden, close, unfamiliar sounds brought waking. This skill was learned from childhood. Children slept surrounded by sound. They adapted early. Today, many children are raised in quiet rooms. Their brains never learn to filter noise, so later even small sounds cause waking. Ancient sleep environments were acoustically rich. Homes were made of wood, clay, stone. Sounds travelled freely. Walls did not block noise, they softened it. This created a constant background hum. That hum became comforting. Modern white noise machines are an imitation of this. They work because the brain remembers. Ancient people also slept near animals. Animals breathed, shifted, made sounds. These sounds were reassuring. Animals reacted quickly to danger. Their sudden movement or noise served as early warning. This allowed humans to relax. Sleep deepens when someone else is watching. Ancient people rarely slept alone. Family members, groups, communities. Someone was always nearby. Someone else would wake first if anything went wrong. Shared sleep reduced fear. Fear is the enemy of rest. Modern sleep is often solitary. Even when we are safe, the nervous system feels alone. Ancient sleep was communal. Sound reinforced that connection. Voices at night were soft. Storytelling was slow. Words were repeated. Rhythm mattered more than content. Stories were not meant to excite. They were meant to calm. The human voice has always been a sleep signal. Even today, people fall asleep to audiobooks, podcasts, soft narration. This is ancient behavior. The brain associates gentle voices with safety. Ancient people understood this without studying it. They felt it. Music also played a role. Simple instruments, slow rhythms, repetitive tones. Music was not performance, it was atmosphere. Sound guided emotion. Emotion guided sleep. Ancient people didn't label sounds as distractions. They labeled them as part of life. This mindset matters. When the mind stops fighting sound, the body relaxes. Modern sleepers often lie awake listening for noise, waiting for silence. This waiting creates tension. Ancient sleepers listened passively. Sound passed through them. It didn't hook their attention. Another important detail is how sound changed through the night. Early night sounds were active. Late night sounds softened. Dawn brought birds. The brain learned these patterns. Sound became a clock, without numbers, without alarms. The nervous system tracked time through sound changes. This created predictability. Predictability creates safety. Safety creates sleep. Modern environments are unpredictable. Sudden notifications, random noises, irregular sounds. The brain cannot relax. Ancient soundscapes were consistent. Even storms followed patterns. Rain fell. Wind moved. Thunder passed. People accepted it. They didn't fight it. They slept through storms when they could, because exhaustion overrides noise. Another difference is how ancient people responded to waking sounds. They did not jump. They listened. They assessed. Most sounds required no action, so they returned to rest. Modern sleepers often react immediately. Heart rate rises. Thoughts start. Sleep disappears. Ancient sleep was resilient. It bent but didn't break. Sound did not destroy sleep. It shaped it. This resilience is something we lost, but it can be relearned. The brain is adaptable. When you allow sound to exist without labeling it as a threat, sleep slowly deepens. This is why some people sleep better with background sound. Fans, rain, low hums. These sounds mimic ancient nights. Your body understands them. It always has. Sound also connected sleep and dreaming. Rhythmic noise influenced dream patterns. Dreams flowed with sound. Water sounds created fluid dreams. Wind created movement. Fire created warmth. Dreams were not random. They were shaped by the environment. Ancient people accepted dreams. They did not analyze them endlessly. They let them pass. This reduced mental tension. Tension disrupts sleep. Acceptance supports it. After sound, temperature was the next silent force shaping ancient sleep. Not warmth, not cold, but change. Ancient people did not sleep in rooms with fixed temperatures. There were no thermostats, no heated blankets, no air conditioning. The night changed, and the body changed with it. Sleep adapted. Early evening was often warm. Fires still burned. Bodies held the heat of the day. Later, the temperature dropped, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. Before dawn, cold settled deepest. This cycle happened every night, and ancient bodies learned to expect it. Instead of fighting temperature changes, they synchronized with them. This is critical. The human body evolved to sleep best when temperature falls. Modern science confirms this, but ancient people lived it. Their sleep deepened as the air cooled. Cooler air signaled safety, darkness, rest. Heat, on the other hand, signaled activity. This is why ancient people rarely slept deeply in extreme heat. Instead, they rested lightly, shifted positions, woke more often. Deep sleep waited for coolness. This natural rhythm aligned perfectly with circadian biology. Modern climate control disrupts this. Constant temperature confuses the brain. The body never receives the signal that night is progressing. Ancient sleep had stages guided by temperature alone. Early night sleep was lighter. Late night sleep was deeper. This matches how humans naturally sleep. Another important detail is clothing. Ancient sleepwear was minimal. Layers were added or removed easily. Furs, wool, simple cloth, nothing tight, nothing restrictive. This allowed micro-adjustments. If cold increased, the body curled. If heat remained, the body spread out. Movement was constant, not restless, but adaptive. Modern bedding locks us in place. Thick mattresses, heavy blankets, tight sheets. We overheat but cannot adjust easily. Overheating fragments sleep. Ancient people avoided this without knowing the term. They slept closer to the ground. Ground temperature is more stable. In hot climates, the ground stayed cool. In cold climates, fires warmed nearby stone. Position mattered. Sleeping near walls retained warmth. Sleeping near entrances allowed airflow. Sleep location changed with seasons. People adapted their sleep spaces rather than forcing one solution year-round. Summer sleep often happened outdoors, under stars, on rooftops, near open courtyards. Night air cooled the body. Breezes regulated heat. Sleep was lighter, but restorative. Winter sleep moved inward, closer to fire, closer to others. Shared body heat mattered. Sleeping together was survival. Loneliness was not romanticized. It was dangerous. Shared warmth improved sleep depth. Modern sleep often isolates us. Individual rooms, separate beds. The nervous system notices this. Temperature and safety are connected. When the body feels cold and alone, sleep struggles. Ancient people understood this instinctively. They arranged sleep around thermal comfort and connection. Another overlooked factor is how ancient people woke. They did not wake to alarms, they woke to warmth. As dawn approached, temperature slowly rose. Sunlight warmed shelters. This gentle warming signaled waking. The body transitioned naturally. No shock, no stress. Modern alarms wake us abruptly, often while the body is still cold. This creates immediate stress. Heart rate spikes. Cortisol releases. Ancient waking was smoother. This improved mood, energy, and long-term health. Temperature also influenced dreams. Cooler temperatures increased vivid dreams. This still happens today. The brain becomes more active when the body cools. Ancient people likely dreamed more intensely before dawn. Dreaming was expected, not feared. Dreams were part of rest, not interruptions. Another detail is fire management. Fires were not kept blazing all night. They were allowed to die down. Embers remained. This slow cooling matched circadian rhythm. Firelight faded. Darkness deepened. Sleep followed. Modern artificial light and heat stay constant. The brain never receives closure signals. Ancient nights had endings. This mattered. Cold was not the enemy. Extreme cold was dangerous, but mild cold was helpful. Sleeping slightly cool improved sleep depth. Ancient people tolerated discomfort better, not because they were tougher, but because their bodies were trained. Comfort was flexible. Modern comfort is rigid. Anything outside a narrow range feels intolerable. This sensitivity damages sleep. Ancient sleep involved adaptation, not control. Control increases anxiety. Adaptation increases resilience. Temperature also structured sleep timing. People slept earlier in winter, later in summer. Day length mattered. Sleep followed nature. Modern sleep ignores seasons. We force the same schedule year-round. The body resists. Ancient sleep flowed. Another forgotten habit was pre-sleep cooling. People washed before bed. Water cooled the skin. This triggered sleepiness. Even cold water was used briefly to reset the nervous system. Today, warm showers dominate. Warmth relaxes muscles but delays deep sleep. Ancient people balanced both. Cool skin, warm core. This balance supports sleep onset. Sleeping positions also adapted to temperature. Curling conserved heat. Spreading released it. Upright or semi-upright positions reduced heat buildup. This connects to earlier parts. Everything was connected. Sound, posture, temperature. Sleep was a system, not a single act. Modern sleep isolates variables. Ancient sleep integrated them. This integration created resilience. Even when conditions were imperfect, sleep still arrived. Not perfectly, but sufficiently. That was enough. Ancient people did not chase perfect sleep. They accepted functional sleep. This mindset reduced stress. Stress is the greatest sleep thief. How ancient people slept with light, and why darkness was never absolute before electricity. Night was not fully dark, and it was never fully bright. It existed in gradients. This matters more than we realize. Modern people imagine ancient nights as pitch black, but that is not true. Firelight, moonlight, starlight, reflections from stone, sand, and water. The night had texture. Darkness breathed, and ancient eyes were tuned to it. Their vision adapted slowly. They did not flood their world with light and then switch it off. Light faded gradually. Sunset lasted longer. Firelight flickered. Shadows moved. This gradual transition prepared the brain for sleep. Melatonin rose naturally. No switches, no shocks. Modern lighting skips this transition. We jump from bright screens to darkness instantly. The brain resists. Ancient people lived inside twilight. This twilight state is deeply calming to the nervous system. It signals safety. Darkness alone can feel threatening. Soft light feels alive. Firelight was not just illumination. It was rhythm. Flames move unpredictably but gently. The brain synchronizes with this motion. Even today, watching fire lowers stress. Ancient people spent hours watching flames before sleep. Their minds slowed. Thoughts softened. Sleep arrived quietly. Firelight also shaped posture. People sat low, leaned back, eyes half-lidded. This posture reinforces relaxation. Screens do the opposite. Upright, forward head, alert eyes. Firelight encouraged inward attention. Stories were told softly, voices dropped. Sound and light worked together. Moonlight played a different role. Full moons increased activity. People stayed awake longer. They travelled, guarded, worked. Sleep shifted, but did not break. On dark moon nights, sleep deepened. Ancient sleep was flexible, not fixed. This flexibility protected health. Modern people expect identical sleep every night. This expectation creates anxiety. Ancient people accepted variation. Moonlight also allowed navigation at night. Eyes adjusted over generations. Retinal sensitivity was higher. Blue light exposure was minimal. Firelight contains very little blue spectrum. This preserved melatonin. Modern LED light is rich in blue light. It tells the brain it is daytime. Even small exposure delays sleep. Ancient people avoided this naturally. They did not stare into flames. They watched peripherally. Soft focus. This matters. Direct light activates alertness. Indirect light calms. Their shelters were designed for indirect light. Fires placed low. Walls reflected glow. No overhead lighting. Shadows dominated. The brain rested. Darkness was not feared because it was familiar. Children grew up surrounded by it. They learned the shapes of night. Their imagination adapted. Modern children fear darkness because it is rare. They are either flooded with light or dropped into blackness. No transition. Ancient darkness had depth. You could see outlines, movement. The brain filled gaps calmly. Another overlooked detail is eye closure. Ancient people closed their eyes earlier, not to sleep, but to rest. They sat quietly, eyes closed, listening. This pre-sleep rest lowered brain activity. Today, we keep eyes open until the moment we try to sleep. This makes sleep harder. Ancient people practiced darkness before sleep. They allowed the visual system to shut down. Dream imagery began early. Hypnagogic states were common. Visions, floating thoughts. These were normal, not alarming. Modern people experience this and panic. Panic interrupts sleep. Ancient culture normalized it. Light also structured sleep phases. Early night sleep happened with residual firelight. Lighter sleep. More awakenings. Later, fires faded completely. True darkness arrived. Deep sleep followed. This matches human biology. Deep sleep prefers darkness. Modern people keep lights, clocks, screens glowing all night. The brain never fully enters night mode. Ancient nights had closure. Darkness signaled depth. Stars were important. Stargazing was common. Not entertainment, but orientation. The vastness of the sky reduced mental noise. Personal worries felt smaller. This psychological effect improved sleep. Modern ceilings trap attention. Ancient skies released it. Cloud cover changed sleep quality. On cloudy nights, darkness was heavier. Sleep deepened. On clear nights, moonlight lightened sleep. Variation was expected, not pathologized. Light also guided waking. Sunrise brightened gradually. Eyes sensed light through closed lids. Melatonin fell gently. The body woke naturally. Modern blackout curtains and alarms interrupt this process. Ancient people woke slower, stretching, yawning, stillness. This protected the nervous system. Another detail is shared light. People slept in groups. Firelight was shared. Darkness was shared. This increased safety perception. Sleep improves when others are nearby. The brain evolved this way. Sleeping alone is a modern invention. Even when ancient people slept alone, they slept near others. Distance mattered. Modern isolation affects sleep deeply. Light also influenced memory. Dreams carried meaning. They were discussed. This reduced fear. Fear disrupts sleep. Ancient people integrated night experiences into life. Modern people suppress them. This creates tension. The eyes of ancient people were stronger in low light. Not genetically different, but trained. They spent evenings in dim environments. Their pupils adapted. Today we blind ourselves nightly, then expect darkness instantly. The system rebels. Firelight also created warmth and movement cues, crackling sounds, shifting shadows. These reminded the brain that others were awake nearby. It allowed sleep without vigilance. Modern silence can feel threatening. Absolute silence is unnatural. Ancient nights had gentle noise and light. Balance mattered. Darkness was layered, not empty. This layering is what modern sleep lacks. We create artificial darkness but remove natural cues. The brain gets confused. Ancient sleep environments told a story. The night made sense. Nothing sudden, nothing harsh, everything slow. Waking in the middle of the night and why it was once the most peaceful time today, waking up at night feels like failure. We look at the clock. Panic rises. Thoughts rush in. Why am I awake? Will I be tired tomorrow? But for most of human history, waking at night was normal, expected, even valued. Ancient people did not sleep in one long block. They slept in two, sometimes three. This was called segmented sleep, first sleep, then a quiet waking period, then second sleep. This middle waking was not stressful. It was calm. The body was rested. The mind was soft. The world was silent. This state was different from daytime wakefulness. Thoughts moved slowly. Creativity increased. Fear decreased. People prayed, reflected, talked quietly, had intimacy, tended fires, checked animals. Then naturally sleep returned. No forcing, no counting minutes. The brain knew what to do. This pattern is deeply human. Modern science has confirmed it. When people are removed from artificial light, their sleep naturally splits. Not broken sleep, human sleep. The problem today is not waking up at night. The problem is believing that you should not. Belief creates stress. Stress blocks sleep. Ancient people did not fear the night. They belonged to it. They did not rush back to sleep. They allowed the body to drift. Sometimes they stayed awake for an hour, sometimes longer. It did not matter. There was no schedule, no alarm. Time was not something to fight. This acceptance kept cortisol low. Low cortisol allows sleep to return. Modern people wake and immediately activate stress hormones. The brain enters day mode. Sleep becomes impossible. Ancient people stayed in night mode. Low light, slow movement, soft voices. Even their thinking was slower. They did not problem solve at night. They didn't plan tomorrow. Night thinking was reflective, not analytical. This protected rest. The body also used this time biologically. Digestion adjusted, memory consolidated, hormones recalibrated. Sleep was not just unconsciousness, it was a cycle of states. Waking was part of the cycle. Another important detail is posture. During night waking, people did not stand upright immediately. They sat, leaned, stayed grounded. Standing fully activates alertness. Sitting maintains calm. Even today this matters. Lying awake in panic keeps the nervous system trapped. Sitting quietly, dim light, often allows sleep to return naturally. Ancient people understood this intuitively. They also understood boredom. Night waking was boring, and that was good. Nothing exciting, nothing stimulating, no stories with conflict, no bright light, no novelty. Boredom is sleep's ally. Modern nights are stimulating. Screens, information, emotion. This teaches the brain that night is for activity. Ancient culture taught the opposite. Night was sacred, slow, empty, safe. Dreams were respected. Night waking allowed people to remember dreams. They reflected on them gently, not analyzing, just noticing. This integration reduced mental tension. Modern people suppress dreams. Unprocessed emotion lingers. It leaks into night waking. Another reason ancient night waking felt peaceful was community. Others were awake too. You were not alone. Someone tending fire, someone praying, someone listening. Shared wakefulness reduces fear. Even today, knowing someone else is awake can be calming. Modern isolation amplifies night anxiety. Ancient homes were small, sounds carried. Breathing was audible, life continued quietly. This signaled safety. The brain relaxes when it senses others. After the waking period, sleep returned deeper. Second sleep was often the deepest. Long REM phases, rich dreams, body repair. This pattern matches human biology. We still experience it, but we label it broken and fight it. The fight is what hurts sleep, not the waking. Ancient people trusted the cycle. They did not try to control sleep. They cooperated with it. This is the final lesson. Sleep is not something to force. It is something to allow. Modern life teaches control. Ancient life taught alignment. When you wake at night, nothing is wrong. Your body may be doing what it has always done. Resting, resetting, preparing for deeper sleep. The more gently you respond, the faster sleep returns. History is still inside you. Your nervous system remembers firelight. It remembers shared silence. It remembers cycles. You are not broken. You are human. Let night be night. Let wakefulness be quiet. Let sleep come when it is ready. And when it does, it will be deep. It always has been.